Hey everybody, good evening. It's Chris from First UMC Media Office. Got your Saturday night thingy. Where's my little fidget thing that I play with? I'll use this. It's been a tough week, hasn't it? A tough week to come up with something to talk about here on the Saturday night thingy. I mean, the obvious thing is certainly the current events, the events of the week, the riot at the Captol building in Washington, and to use that maybe as a springboard to reflect on the polarized nature of our nation. I don't really want to talk about that. I mean, what could my voice possibly add to the situation? You know, it's also been a tough week because I've been looking for this thing right here. And I finally found it. I finally found it today. I hope it will solve a problem connecting a camera in the sanctuary that pooped out on us last Sunday. I knew it was here somewhere, and I finally found it today. So, well, let's go this way. Let me ask you, what are you looking for today? What are you looking for today, or just in general? You know, one thing I believe about people is that people are great seekers, and not just great seekers, but great finders, right? We can almost always find what we're looking for. And we look for all kinds of things. We look for scientific knowledge, right? We went looking for how to decode DNA. And you know what? We found the answer. I mean, I didn't. I can't do that. But I know a guy. And I could get it done because someone went looking for how to do it. One of us, people, right? We look for material things like, you know, the perfect gift for someone. Maybe one of these, right? A specific blend of spices for a dish we're trying to make, a shirt that's the right color. We look for our car keys, and we usually find them, right? We're good at looking and finding. We look for our emotional needs, something to live for, something to care for, a purpose. What are you looking for? We have people among us who are looking for and finding issues in our society that have to be dealt with. Things like racism, sexism, bullying in schools. There are 100 different things that many of us don't see in our daily lives because we aren't looking for them. And we can resent it when some of these things are brought to our attention and we're asked to focus on them a little bit because, you know, nobody needs one more thing to worry about. We haven't seen those things in our lives, but somebody else did, and they want us to know about them, and there are issues that have to be addressed. When it comes to your fellow citizens, your fellow human beings, your fellow children of God, what are you looking for in them? Is your first inclination to look for common ground, or is your first inclination to look for the things that divide you? You know, what are you looking for? Are you looking for a fight? Are you looking for a fight? You know, that's easy. That's not hard to find at all. Are you looking for the truth? Are you looking for the truth? Everybody's got the truth, right? That's the one that bothers me the most. And that's where we can kind of work our way back to the events of this last week. You see, we're great seekers and we're great finders because we know where to look. We look in the places that we are most likely to find what we're looking for. I found this in one of the places where I could have expected it to be. What we're looking for determines where we look. When we're looking for the truth, where is that? I want you to think about that. When you're looking for the truth, where do you look? Do you keep going back to the same source? And why do you trust this source so much? When you're looking for the truth, do you go to Fox News? Do you go to CNN? Do you go to Newsmax? Do you go to MSNBC? Do you go to a specific human being when you're looking for the truth? A writer, a TV person, a radio personality? Do you go to Rush? Do you go to Rachel? When you're looking for the truth, do you go to a media organization? which has adopted the truth of a political party. And here's, if you do, and a lot of us do, because what other ones are out there, right? Here's the problem with those sources of truth. They each have something to gain by you following, by your following, right? They each have a version of the truth of today. And they have a vested interest in you returning again and again for their version of the truth. They have a vested interest in you believing their version of the truth. And my friends, they will lead you astray. They will use their pictures, and they will use their voices to manipulate the way you see the world. And they will draw you into a new truth that serves their interests and their agenda. Does this sound conspiratorial? I don't mean it to. I'm just telling you how media works and how we get drawn into it and how our visions, our understanding of how the world works is molded by people who have an agenda. You have to understand that their power, I'm talking about our political parties, their power depends upon your belief of their version of the truth. And it's very easy for them to present their version of the truth to you. I know this about the media because it's where I work. It's the environment I work in. I work here at your church. It's an organization that has a particular perspective. It's my job to share that perspective. It's my job to share that message. And I do that with the same tools that the secular media uses, right? I know how easy it is to manipulate people's emotions with pictures and music and words. I know how to make you laugh. I know how to make you cry. I know how to make you mad. I know how to incite rage. And I'm just a guy who works at a church, right? As we look back at the events of this last week, your church media guy sees them as the culmination. The boiling point that we finally reached of the last, certainly the last 4 years, I think longer, definitely longer, but it's certainly the last 4 years of two opposing forces, two opposing sides, misusing, intentionally misrepresenting the truth for the purpose of gaining the power to govern us. They've worked to breed discord and distrust among us, to turn us against each other, and we've let it happen to us by not being smart about how we seek, where we find, and what we believe as truth. And we got to get better at this. We got to get better at this. We have to see through the truth that they present and get back to the truth that we were born with about how we relate to each other, how we understand each other. So what are you looking for? What are you looking for? You know, that's a biblical question. It's the first question that Jesus asked as he recruited his first two disciples. Andrew and Simon were hanging out with John the Baptist, and there they met Jesus, and he asked them, "What are you looking for?" "Rabbi," is how they responded. Jesus invited them to stay with him for the night, and then he said, "Follow me." Right? He didn't look forward and say, "You guys 2,000 years later, follow Chuck or follow Nancy or, follow Mitch, follow Donald, follow Joe." He didn't do that. The first time he said, "Follow me," and he hasn't stopped saying that. That message hasn't changed. The truth that he taught those first two disciples and the next ones that he recruited, the truth that he taught them over the next 3.5 years is the truth we follow today. And it's all here. It's all here, right? This is the basis of our faith. It's a truth taught that does not turn brothers and sisters against each other. It's a truth for our nation. It's a truth for all nations. It's a truth for our time, and it's a truth for all time. It's a truth whose picture is certainly bigger than a presidential term. It's a truth that's bigger than a human lifespan. It's a truth that's bigger than a riot in Washington, and it's a truth of hope and love and peace. And you know what? God's power is not dependent upon your belief. right? But God's grace is yours if you do. And that's the truth I encourage you to seek. And that's little rambling is pretty much what I have for you this evening. So I will see you tomorrow morning on the live stream. Pastor Matt had a great message last week, and we continue with another one, second one in that series this week. We encourage you to join us. Sunday school's back on. Let's see, Jenna and... who's doing it with her this week? Jenna and Lauren have a great Sunday school message for you tomorrow. Kind of a fun story. And so until then, have a great Saturday night.